Hi there, this is Joanne from TrueAuthenticPower.com from Tapping.me, and I'm also the creator of the program Catapulting to Confidence. I wanted to talk today about money and success blocks because I think a lot of people think that when you have a money or success issue, it's related to money or success, or beliefs around money or success, or around things that happened around money and success. And while some of the time that may be true, that's not always the case. And here's why. When you are thinking about energy, there is an energy about everything you think, feel, talk about, express, don't express, what you're feeling, what emotions you may be blocking or sharing or not blocking and sharing. Oh, it's so intertwined. And so people go down the avenue of the buzzwords, and love and money are two of the bigger ones that a lot of people want to solve their issues around. But if you are having a money and success issue and you have done a lot of work around subconscious beliefs around those two topics and nothing is moving, it may not be that it's specifically around money or success. It might, and you may not have gotten to the roots yet, or it could be about something else. Now, let me explain. When we have a big pocket of energy that's been blocked, like some level of emotion, that you have always suppressed. Like maybe for you, it's anger, that you always suppress your anger. And then by the time it comes out sideways. There's a lot of resistance and pushing against. And that sucks up and creates an energy drain. You're not consciously doing it, it's probably programmed into you. But when you release that pocket of resistance against anger or sadness or shame or whatever the emotion might be that's so big, that's a pervasive thing that you keep blocking, it might very well open up a lot of other avenues in your life. So let me give you an example. If you are holding, well, I can give you an example from a past client. This particular client was having business issues, and smart person, very capable, knowledgeable, sharp, in a lot of ways, but they could not go forward. And one of the things that opened up their business after we cleared it was they had had an affair and were very ashamed about it. And all that suppression was blocking energy that once it opened up was able to go towards their business, towards their money. And it opened up in a lot of ways. Shame is a huge emotion. And if you are carrying that and it's pervasive in your energy, it may be working on you, working your energy over in ways that you don't even realize. So sometimes people will go the automatic route of, I'm having trouble with money, so it's got to be an issue around money. That may be true, but if you're not getting anywhere, you may even need to go deeper than what you've done to subconscious beliefs and where it might be holding in your body. But I would also encourage you to think about other emotions that you may be blocking. For that particular client, it was shame. And once we cleared that resistance and the embarrassment, and I can't believe I did that, and what was I thinking that is so unlike me? I can't, just couldn't get over that they had done that. There was so much shame there. And that's a huge energy resistance, saying if you are, in essence, full of shame, you need to be punished. That's not necessarily the truth. That's not necessarily the case. And it was very out of character for this person. But that's what was blocking them with their business. And once they opened that up, a lot of things opened. For another person, it may be grief. If there has been a lot of overload, this was the case for me, a lot of overload. And I was the strong person for every single person that got ill and then passed away. There was no time for me to feel, or at least that's what I believe. So I hid it and I shoved it under to be strong for them. But that's a lot of energy that's backed up. Grief is a really powerful energy as well. Another example, you may have been blocking sadness. Some people who have been raised in an angry environment grow up to be able to feel a lot of anger, but you may have had a lot of hurt where you needed soothing. You may have had a lot of painful things where you needed a there, honey, and kind of some hugs and love. And instead, you might have gotten the message, oh, buck up. Well, we're given a wide range of emotions to be able to feel them and work through them. And when you can work through them rather than suppress them, you stay in a healthy balance. It's when things get locked up and shoved under or anchored together in backwards kind of ways that things start coming out sideways and backwards, or you will block energy channels in multiple ways. It's not so unusual. And so when people are going down the money or success path, I would encourage you to ask some of these kind of questions. If there was an emotion that I often block or feel uncomfortable feeling or wasn't allowed to feel, what would you say? Now, just take your time with that, because when people are in a pattern, you can't always necessarily have this come up immediately, but there are questions to ask. Another one, what is the biggest thing that I'm ashamed of? And rate it on a scale of 1 to 10. How strong would that be? The same thing with this, with the emotion. What emotion am I blocking, and how does it feel to suppress that? Now, shame can also include things like asking for help without feeling ashamed, or making mistakes without feeling ashamed. It doesn't have to be something gigantic and big, although to a kid, to a child, that is gigantic and big. When you're made fun of, when people laugh at you or just give you a hard time about something, that's a shameful kind of thing. And you may carry that pattern. What people tend to look at is the incident and what's immediately going on. I tend to look for the patterns, and you would be surprised at how pervasive those things can be when you really start getting into, what do I suppress a lot of the time? What am I feeling that I don't ever allow or was never allowed? You'd be surprised on how pervasive those patterns can be across multiple people in your life, in multiple situations in your life, and to start paying attention to, what do you resist the most? Where are you out of balance? Now, you may need some help doing that, but suffice it to say that there may be a big block that you're really fighting against. For me, I wasn't necessarily on purpose fighting against grief. I just was in a situation where I believed I needed to be strong for them, and my feelings all took a back seat. But if I look at the bigger pattern, that was a pervasive thing that I learned as a kid. Now, nobody necessarily taught me that, but we get into these loops and these patterns and these ridiculous kind of things that work against us in protection when we're kids. And then the stakes become bigger, the patterns become stronger, they apply to bigger things as we grow into adulthood. And before you know it, you're in such a big pattern that's affecting every part of your life. So I want to do just a little bit of tapping on something you might be resisting. Now, I also want to point out there are a lot of people who get scared to death about being an entrepreneur. Are you fighting a resistance about the pathway you're trying to go on, whether that be being an entrepreneur, whether that means being a parent? You might have a fight or flight going on there of, oh, will it be too big for me to handle? I really want this, but I'm scared of it. So I want you to take a second, maybe pause this audio and think about where you might be resisting things. I know I did this somewhat with being an entrepreneur myself, because there was a part of me that felt like I was doing so much on my own. Would the help be there when I needed it? Would I be able to ask for help instead of trying to be so strong all the time, which goes back to my emotional pattern? I'm always strong for them. It became who I was supposed to be. And being vulnerable and needy felt so uncomfortable to me. And that played into my role as an entrepreneur, into my success, into other parts of my life. I'm the strong one. It's not necessarily healthy to be the strong one all the time, but that became who I was. Not by blaming anybody, just kind of by default of, when you're a kid, you put things together that might not make sense, but it's the best that you could do as a child with limited resources and limited ways of understanding and thinking. So, what are you resisting? When you think about something that you're avoiding, think about something that you're blocking. Is there a fear around it? Is there an anxiety around it that you're blocking that you don't want to look at? Is there a shame around it? And I'm just going to do some tapping here, and you can fill in the blanks to what your circumstance is or what your issue is. And feel free to change the words as we go through, but maybe it will prompt you to think in some ways of what you're blocking. All right. So take a deep breath and maybe grab some water before we begin. And call to mind something that you're blocking, something that you really want. It's not coming to fruition. What emotions around it might you be blocking or looking away from? Maybe you're really afraid. I'm going to use fear as one of the things of, I'm really scared to do this. I'm really scared to go forward with this. But it might not be that for you, and you might be able to change the words to be what is appropriate for you. So we're going to start on the side of the hand on the karate chop point. I'm going to assume you know how to tap. If you don't, you can go to my homepage on trueauthenticpower.com. There is a video there that will take you through the points and show you how to tap. And as best you can, just follow along, and here we go. Repeat after me. Even though I have this block in my life that I can't seem to release, I should be able to do this by now. I want to be able to do this now, but there might be some conflict or fear, anger or resentment, shame or embarrassment in this part of my life or in another part of my life that is just so big I'm resisting it. I don't want to feel what I'm feeling. I don't want to go back in time to pain. But it might have such a grip on me that it's controlling other parts of my life. I want to honor all of my feelings, what I'm resisting, and maybe admit that I'm just really scared or ashamed or embarrassed. I love, honor, and accept all of my feelings. Even though I'm resisting this area, and yet I say it's something I really want. I wonder why I might be blocking it. What emotions might be gripping me about it? What have I not even admitted to myself? I love, honor, and accept all my feelings about this. Even though something's blocking me. And maybe it's not even about the topic that I'm blocking, but something else that has a big grip on me. And I've been suppressing how I feel about it. I honor and accept all of my feelings. Go to the eyebrow point. I'm blocking this area of my life. Side of the eye. I wonder why. Under the eye. If I'm feeling a lot of emotion about it. Under the nose. Am I letting myself go to that feeling? Chin, to feel through it. Collarbone, or am I so afraid of the feelings under the arm that I'm suppressing it all? Wrist, is there a big shame in my life I'm suppressing? Top of the head, and that could be something, eyebrow, as easy as I'm afraid to ask for help. Side of the eye, I'm ashamed to admit I can't do it. Under the eye, or maybe I need some soothing. Under the nose, or some comfort. Chin, for some incidences that really are still hurting. Collarbone, maybe it has nothing to do with what I'm blocking. Under the arm, and maybe these are some old hurts. Wrist, that because the pattern got locked. Top of the head, I'm playing over and over again. Eyebrow, what is this all about? Side of the eye, maybe it's related to some really old pain. Under the eye, some really old embarrassment or shame. Under the nose, or maybe a conflict between what I want, chin, and what they expect me to do or be. Collarbone, I really want to consider what I'm resisting. Under the arm, and what's the feeling about it? Wrist, is it guilt or shame? Top of the head, sadness or grief? Eyebrow, anger or resentment? Side of the eye, panic or worry? Under the eye, terror? Under the nose, being afraid or scared? Chin, I'm supposed to have this all together by now. Collarbone, but if there's a pocket of pain holding. Under the arm, what might it be? Wrist, what might it be related to early on? Top of the head, and how do I keep replaying it? Eyebrow, in different situations? Side of the eye, with different people? Under the eye, with different emotions? Under the nose, this may be some old stuff. Chin, that as a child. Collarbone, I learned to keep around for protection. Under the arm, maybe I have shame of asking for help. Wrist, because help wasn't available and I needed to figure it out on my own. Top of the head, maybe I couldn't get some soothing. Eyebrow, so rather than feel the pain, I shoved it under. Side of the eye, maybe there's a big regret that I have. Under the eye, avoidable or unavoidable. Under the nose, reveal to me what I need to know. Chin, give me the answers that I need to know. Collarbone, to heal this wound. Under the arm, soothe and comfort myself. Wrist, and let go of the anticipation of more resistance. Top of the head, it's my time to honor what I need now. Take a deep breath and just relax into that. I don't know if some of those questions brought up a significant incident for you, if it brought up a memory. If it did bring up a memory, go back through and just describe as you're tapping through the points what that memory is all about. For me, when I realized how much of the grief I was pocketing, I went back to every incident, and I remember the biggest one that opened up a real pocket of emotion for me was when my mom had 5 bypasses. I was falling apart, and nobody in my family seemed to be reacting that way. And it made me kind of sit back and take notice of what this is important. I mean, she's having 5 bypasses. She could die on the table. And nobody else was reacting with that. Now, I don't know what they were doing with their worry or maybe they weren't worried. Maybe they just felt it was going to be fine. But I was falling apart. And I never really got into a space where falling apart was comfortable. That wasn't part of my pattern. Good, bad, or indifferent, how I learned it, it doesn't matter. It wasn't part of my pattern to be soothed when I was hurting like that. And so when I went back and was able to tap through that incident, I tapped through feeling what it was like when I heard the news, feeling what it was like to wait in the waiting room, feeling the panic in my body when, they call your name after someone has had surgery. I was panicked through the whole thing. That's a lot of suppression. So if you're thinking about something that you're blocking in your life, just go a little bit bigger. Don't necessarily just say it's got to be a money or a success issue or a love issue or a friendship issue. It might be something that you're repressing that is affecting that avenue. And when you free up that energy, a lot of things in your life can change. I hope this helps. This is Joanne from TrueAuthenticPower.com, from Tapping.me. And until our paths cross again next time, bye bye for now.